Hey guys, Jason Balin at Hard Money Bankers. Sitting next to me, the infamous Terry Royce from JT Homes. A lot of people in the Baltimore, DC area know Terry because he's a pretty large wholesaler, and a lot of the properties he buys are through auctions. So I want to sit down with Terry today, kind of go over the auction process, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions related to how auctions actually work. So why don't we start by just run down kind of what an auction is and how the process works.
Sure. So yeah, auctions are a big chunk of what we do. We buy auctions, off-market deals, Hubzu deals, all that stuff. But auctions are a big source of what we buy. And the auction process is basically in Maryland, when, as you know, being a lender, when you have a deed of trust on a property and that goes into default, the lender takes it to the foreclosure process. And here in Maryland, all of those are done at the county courthouse in the district where that property is located, and it's sold to the highest bidder. Maryland is not, you don't get the bids beforehand. A lot of other states you do.
Sure.
So Maryland is one of those states you have to kind of just, look, you have no idea what the properties are going to go for. So that's kind of one unique part about the Maryland process is you kind of have to be ready for whatever, for any of the properties.
And is there auctions every day or Monday through Friday? How are those kind of lined up?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's going to depend on the county. The bigger, what we call the millhouse foreclosure trustees, kind of have each of their counties. What's the word I'm looking for? They do them on certain days, but throughout the state, they're Monday through Friday in different counties. So in Arundel County might be on Mondays and Wednesdays. Baltimore City might be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But the schedule can vary. It's fixed. I mean, you have to look where they're published. Some of them are published online, some of them are published in the newspaper.
Sure.
So they're
and they're at the courthouse mostly, or at the individual properties? Because
99.9% of them are done at the courthouse on the steps, so they're live in person. I know a lot of states like Florida, they're all online, and that's like a big kind of drops the hurdle in Florida because there's a lot of foreign money that buys, a lot of out-of-state money. But here in Maryland, you have to be physically present.
How many people would you say show up to some of these auctions? And who are they? Are they mostly just investors, or do homeowners buy properties at auctions too?
I would say they're mostly investors. There are homeowners from time to time, but I would say if there's a big batch, it could be, I've seen as many as 50, 60, 70 people. And a lot of those people may be coming out for one particular property.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we differ. We look at everything from the worst row house in Baltimore to the $1 million, $2 million house in Annapolis, or
so you're looking at everything and you're prepared for everything ahead of time, and then you have specific bids, and whoever's, I guess, going to that auction on your behalf, if you're not the one actually physically going, is prepared to yep until it hits your number.
Yeah, so we have to do all of our due diligence on the properties, and I was actually looking in our system here before you got here. I think over the last 4 years we've looked at almost 30,000 properties over the years, or that have at least been on our chart. We've probably looked at, I would say, 70% of those in person. And so I mean, there's a large volume. That's what people don't realize. There's a large volume of properties that go up to look at to get a select few. And
rewind before the auction the actual auction sale. How long does it take before it gets to that? Like, when are you notified? Is it like a 90-day period ahead of time that these are going to go to auction at this particular date?
Yeah, well, a lot of them, I mean, they get filed in land records and things like that they are starting the foreclosure process, but they actually get scheduled, I would say probably anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, because the legal laws for the foreclosure process in Maryland, you have to post it X number of times in the newspaper or other circulation, post notice. So there's from when it actually gets scheduled, I would say it's probably between 3 to 4 weeks.
Got it. So what else do you think viewers would want to know just about the auction process if they're new? And then I want to get into a little bit about how your organization operates. So, like, is there anything else I'm missing that you can shed some light on related to just how the auction process works? I mean, can a one-man operation, let's say, hey, I want to buy a property and I have a $25,000 I want to put into it type of thing, can I come in there with a check and buy a property, buy an auction?
Yeah, you can. I mean, that's the hard part about this business, and what makes it like actually more of a business than a lot of other things is that it forces, well, at least for me in the beginning, that was the thing. We would look at a select number of properties and what I would call cherry pick.
Yeah.
But if we look at, let's say, 250 to 300 properties a week, only a handful of those are going to be bid worthy or open at a number that's a reasonable number for an investor to buy. So as a one-man show, you're going to look at, I mean, in Baltimore City alone, there's probably 70 to 80 properties per week. So if you're being really selective, you have to figure, let's say we're in Federal Hill right now, there's only going to be, throughout the course of the year, maybe 3 to 5 properties in this neighborhood. If you're like hey, I only rehab or invest in Federal Hill, you're kind of narrowing it down, and you're kind of, and those properties go for a premium, and that's why I think it's better to look at a wide range of properties. And whether this be the auction process or you're doing direct mail, that's why wholesaling to me is the best business, because it allows you to cast a wider net, filter out the junk, and then you can select the properties. When you narrow in real selectively, if you're a rehabber and want to say, hey, I'm only rehabbing in Columbia or Federal Hill, you've got a really narrow focus, and it's going to be a lot harder. If I say, hey, I'm going to market to all of Baltimore City, 80% of what I get isn't going to be something I would buy, but I can monetize those leads. So the thing I'm getting at is, as a small investor, you can come in, but you've got a big mountain to climb, and you have to personally look at those properties, comp them, determine them. A third of them are going to get canceled, so a third of the work you're doing is for nothing.
That's right.
So that's why, whether it be direct mail or auctions or MLS marketing, it's really, in my opinion, I used to think it was difficult to scale and like chunk out the jobs so that each person on your team can have a specific role.
Got it. Yeah, let's go through that a little bit. So I know a lot of the stuff you do is wholesale. I know you also buy stuff, for rent or for rehab. Walk us through that process. Let's say, hey, you just got back from the auction and you have a property. Like, what's the next step inside your organization?
Sure. So we kind of identify right away, try to quickly at least identify what our primary objective with that is. And it may be up to, well, is it occupied? Do we think we can sell it or wholesale it? So we may say, okay, well, our first objective is to try to sell it. If we can't get a certain number, or if we can't sell it, then we'll say, okay, well, let's look at rehabbing this as a retail property, or take it and keep it as a rental. So another thing that we didn't dive into when you were talking about with auctions specifically, and even a lot of Hubzu deals, is that they could be occupied with either a tenant or the owner, and you may have to either give them cash for keys. They may not be cooperative and give you any information, so you may have to go through the eviction process. So there's a lot of hurdles there, and plus, like you kind of alluded to, the deposits. You have to have hard cash, not cash, certified checks, which are basically cash at the auctions on site to place when you buy it. And once you put that money down, I mean, it's gone. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that that money's gone. I'd say our average deposit is probably anywhere from 10 to 20,000 per property, and we place deposits as big as 50 to 70,000.
And you do a bunch at a time sometimes if you have multiple properties hit. So
yeah, I mean,
you're floating a good amount of money, and that's I think a challenge for a lot, or they don't realize that's something that's an issue. And if I just wanted to identify one property, chances are, like you said, there's a third of a chance that it's not going to get even auctioned off because it could get canceled last minute. And all good things.
But you were asking about the process. That was kind of leading me into, we have to determine the occupancy, figure out what the strategy is, and actually Leon, who you met here earlier, is getting ready to go to one of our properties that we bought down the street in Locust Point, which was occupied when we bought it, and we worked out an agreement with that occupant to stay for about a month and then leave after that month. So he's basically staying in our property that we have legal rights to now for free as part of the agreement we worked out. So there's a lot of variables in any project that you just don't know, and that's kind of what makes it a little bit of exciting and a little bit of barriers for everybody, because a lot of people are afraid to go through those hurdles.
Sure. Got it. Yeah, so on your team, just maybe identify who it is. You don't have to name the person, but maybe what their individual, kind of what roles are. So let's say, I want to do this at scale. Like, how would it have to be set up?
Yeah, I mean, we have, whether it's any kind of deal, whether it's auction, direct mail, direct to seller, MLS, we have a team of guys, 4 full-time guys and a couple part-time guys that look at properties full-time. So these properties, I probably haven't looked at one myself before we bought it in the last 2 years. So they are just looking at properties and determining occupancy. After we buy a property, they may be checking on it, making sure the water's off, making sure that people have moved out when they said they're going to move out, coordinating move-outs. So we have 4 full-time, 2 part-time people that do that. We have a full-time office manager. We have another lead transaction sales manager. We have an acquisitions manager that deals with our direct-to-seller stuff from other marketing that we do. And then me and my partner, he handles most of the construction. I really don't deal with any of that. And that was something I realized early on when I was wholesaling. Everybody's like, oh, I want to wholesale, and I want to rehab, and I want to like a mobile home park. That was the thing. Everybody gets distracted.
Sure.
So I realized early on, I started doing rehabs, and it would distract me from my existing business. And that was kind of why I partnered with him, was because he could handle all of the construction and allowed me to focus. Same way we have the members on our team focusing on individual roles. It allowed me to focus just on the acquisition and the sale to investors. So he focuses also on the acquisition, but handles the construction for our rentals and our rehabs and things like that. And then we have a team of VAs overseas. We have about 6 or 7 full-time VAs, and they have the one guy we deal with. He has a team underneath him that we've helped build out, who handles a lot of the back-end stuff up front for researching properties, doing a lot of the repeatable tasks in our business that can be outsourced.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to go into it. I certainly understand that. All right. So one last question, because there's obviously some misconceptions related to wholesaling an auction property, and do you have the right to wholesale it? When can you start wholesaling? How does the process work? Substitute purchase agreements, stuff like that. So let's just walk through that process real quick.
Okay.
And I think that gives everybody a lot of good information.
So you can wholesale them, but it's a lot of paperwork. The bank has to sign off on it. So you have a legal document that has to be drafted, signed by the buyer, signed by the foreclosure trustee, and yourself. And then depending on your deposit, which the buyer may or may not reimburse partial or in full, you could still, if you have a $20,000 deposit, and your buyer might only want to put up 15 or 5 or something, a smaller amount, your money is still at risk in that deal. And that's kind of one of the tough parts about wholesaling these, is if I put up 30 grand, all the buyers may not be like, well, I only want to put up 5. So 20, 15, whatever, $1,000 of our money could still be stuck in the deal. And then the ratification process is, a lot of wholesalers are like, oh, let's close in 2 weeks. But the auction process could take anywhere from 45 days to, we've had deals take 18 months to, we actually have one right now. I think we're almost on 2 years that has been.
The buyer's still on.
No, we had a buyer and then it fell. The buyer didn't want to wait any longer, and then the old owner moved people into the property while we had it. So now that.
Why not? They get free rent out of it.
Yeah, they're getting free rent, and the property is in tax sale now, and that's another thing with these properties.
So are you paying the taxes on it to protect your interest?
No, we're not, because it was in tax sale before I think that we bought it.
Got it.
But there's some gray area about who's responsible. A lot of these auction deals that people don't realize is you could be responsible for some or all of the bills that could accrue.
Yeah.
So if you have a deal that we bought a $800,000 house last year in Baltimore County, and it took 16 months to ratify. We had to pay all the property taxes on that throughout that process, along with interest to the trustee and all that. I mean, now you're talking about $30,000, $40,000 worth of costs. Yeah.
Again, just like anything with real estate investing, the model works. It's a good model, but you got to educate yourself and really understand it. If you're looking to kind of get to a place where Terry's at or Terry's team's at, it's doable. If Terry can do it, you can do it, obviously. But you got to start with one and learn the process and rinse and repeat. So all good stuff. Really good insight on auction stuff. I think there's just a lot of, not necessarily false information out related to auctions, but a lot of unknown because people haven't been through it. And even as a lender, we've been through it a lot and have foreclosed on a lot of properties. And some we take over, some will take ownership, some will do substitute purchase agreements. But there's always those little ins and outs that until you have experience with it. So all good stuff. I certainly appreciate it.